But we're live. We're live.
We're rolling. Nice.
Okay. Welcome everybody to this YouTube live with my good friend Alex Watson. If you haven't met Alex Watson yet, he's a bioenergetics teacher, a very good one. He's a body-based therapist and an all-round good guy. And yeah, we're teaching courses together and workshops together at the moment. So I just thought I'd get him on. We'll talk about a few different things, see where it goes. And then Alex is going to guide everyone through a bioenergetics practice for about 10 minutes. We're probably going to go for about half an hour or something like that. So we're just going to jump into some questions. We're going to explore the body as a doorway to awakening to a deeper sense of self, and all sorts of juicy spiritual embodiment stuff, which is what we usually talk about, isn't it, Alex?
It certainly is, mate.
Yeah. So I was walking in the woods earlier today, and I was thinking about this live coming up, which we're going to post on YouTube after. And I was thinking about spiritual warriors, because we've got this Facebook group called Body-Based Warriors, which you can join if you want to join it. I'll put the link in the description. And I was thinking about how you used to box, and you were telling me about how you box loads. You had like 20 or more fights, and you could have gone to a professional level. And you had that warrior sort of spirit. Even growing up, before you were into spirituality, you were into boxing. You know, fighting, boxing, you need courage to do that, to get into a ring and have someone come at you and hit you in the face. And I've experienced kind of similar things, not as extreme as that, but with playing rugby, you know, having some big 6'5" guy running at me and I have to throw myself under their legs to knock them over. It takes a bit of courage to do these sorts of things. So my question was, how do you think that relates, the courage that you had to go into boxing? How is that related to your spiritual path? And yeah, has it prepared you for spirituality? And how has that attitude of having courage to face your fears in boxing translated over to your spiritual journey?
Wow, man, great question. Good question. First of all, I think with boxing, because it's a very disciplined sport, you have to be disciplined. You know, it's a one-man band type of sport. You're not on there on a pitch, or, you know, whatever. You're in there by yourself. So with boxing, I mean, all sports, you've got to be disciplined, but particularly with boxing or combat sports, you've got to be disciplined. And I think the spiritual path also entails discipline. You've got to have a certain level of discipline to get up each day, to train or to practice, whatever it may be, just to have something in place that keeps you moving forward towards, whether it be a boxing match, a rugby match, or a spiritual attainment goal. There's got to be a certain level of discipline. So for me, I feel that getting up each day, meditating, getting up each day and practicing bioenergetics, a lot of that discipline comes from boxing for sure. So that's just one aspect of it, what coming to my mind. But also I think if you see a lot of boxers, particularly like, you know, older boxers who have really gone for it. I mean, I was just amateur at an amateur level. I boxed at a fairly high level in amateur, but I never went all the way. But a lot of these boxers that have gone, like, made a career out of boxing, many of them become quite philosophical and can be quite spiritual or get into religion or whatever. And I do feel that a lot of these guys get into this way of thinking, into this spiritual or deeper aspects of life, because on a daily basis, they are confronting their fears, their daily commitment to training, to get into the ring, to get hit, going against, you know, big opponents, big fights or whatever. So the way I see it is that having something which you meet each day, which challenges you, is going to take you deeper, because, you know, so many of us were kind of just on this surface level of mind, as we've discussed on this channel before and on the courses. But when you're doing combat sport, boxing, whatever it may be, it's really taking you into the deep realms of emotionality, primarily fear and anxiety. So I'd say so. I'd say, you know, like you said, I was just amateur. I wasn't kind of like full on like some of these pros that we've got today. But for sure, I can see similarities between the sort of spiritual path and doing some sort of confrontational sport, for sure.
Yeah, great, man. Yeah, I'm more into MMA than I am into boxing. But I'm so inspired by them. I'm inspired by anyone who is trying to improve themselves, who's disciplined, who is looking into their own mind. And I think with that, because they have the fight coming up and they've got to train for it, and it's a big deal, like they must experience so much emotion. You must experience so much emotion before you go into a fight. And so it's like, you have to learn how to deal with that emotion. You have to learn how your mind operates, how your emotions operate, in order to be able to stay present in the fight and not kind of, I don't know, go up into your mind and lose presence or whatever. Yeah, and I like the Conor McGregor says something like, in order to be comfortable, you need to chase the uncomfortable. In order to be comfortable, you need to continuously, purposefully be putting yourself in the uncomfortable, or something like that.
Definitely, yeah. And this is the case with so many fighters, you know, like you don't really see it with footballers or golfers or whatever. It's like, it's primarily fighters who kind of get this way of thinking. Not all of them, of course, but many fighters, MMA, boxing, whatever it may be, they kind of have this depth. And it makes me think, actually, they're constantly activating this reptilian part of the brain, I think it's the amygdala, which is the fight or flight response. And they are continuously exercising that sort of, you know, the adrenaline comes up and then they explode with all this kind of aggression, and they use their energy, they use what comes up inside of them. So it's very primal, this way of life for these fighters. And, you know, the reptilian part of the brain being the deepest part of the brain, it makes me think, I wonder if there's some sort of correlation between constantly working in that area of the brain and developing such a deep personality, as many of them are have. Yeah,
what's coming to me now is, you know, that, have you seen that climber, the guy who he does free climbing? So he climbs up these cliffs and he doesn't use any ropes. I think he's called Alex Arnold or something. He won all the world records for free climbing. And he would be on the top of this cliff. He would be holding on by like his fingers, and you just see it on his face. He was just in complete bliss because he had to be in the present moment to be clinging onto the cliff. And also he was purposefully constantly putting himself in danger. And they measured his heart rate, like how they would normally measure someone's heart rate. And his was like, I don't know, a third or a quarter of what a normal person's heart rate was. It's like his stress hormones just never went up because he'd put himself in so many uncomfortable situations. But anyway, we're veering off a little bit there. But I was going to say just one more thing about boxing as we got onto this topic. Tyson Fury went through a lot of stuff with mental health and things like that, didn't he? And I find it amazing how someone can be a world champion boxer, has had all these incredible experiences, is at the complete top of his game. And then the thing that he speaks most passionately about, and the thing that he says was the hardest for him, the thing that he's most proud of, is overcoming his internal difficulties, is overcoming his depression, is overcoming his anxiety. out of all his achievements, they were the hardest things to do. That was the hardest thing to do. And it just shows you that if you do have a challenging mind, if you do have challenging emotions, if you are pulled into suffering, if you have experienced mental health difficulties, then you are an absolute fucking warrior in a way. Because one of the greatest boxers in the world, who's an absolute warrior externally, is saying that the mental health stuff is harder than anything that he's done in boxing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to mental health, because it's such an internal battle, you know, it's it can be very lonely dealing with mental health, because, you know, it is more accepted today, but I also see it as a lot of men have shame around going through it, whether it be anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, and so on. But yeah, I think when it comes to mental health, I don't think there's a more difficult journey that anybody could embark on, really. You know, when people are going through it, they really are in the depths, and they don't know how to get out, lots of people. Whereas doing things externally, you kind of know what needs to be done. Like, you know, Tyson Fury going on to win the world title, he's got a road in front of him which he can walk upon and get to an end goal. Whereas when we're just kind of stuck up here, it's like there's so many thoughts, there's so many parts of us that are activated. It's just like can be so chaotic and intense and suffocating and overwhelming that, yeah, it can be a really difficult place to be. So I honestly believe that mental health is probably the most difficult challenge that anybody can overcome. If you really overcome it, that is, you know, it's like very few people actually do. I think a lot of people keep it at bay. You know, we can take medication, we can drink, smoke, whatever it may be, and a lot of that is just kind of keeping it at bay. It's not actually using it to resolve what is actually going on. So yeah,
man. And I think it's a good way to frame it as a challenge instead of as a problem, because people can say mental health problems, can't they? I prefer the phrase mental health challenge. It's like, okay, I've got this challenge. What can I do to overcome it? Because then that takes you out of being a victim to it. Like, this has happened to me. Instead, you can see it as a challenge. This has been given to me as a challenge for me to grow through, for me to expand through, for me to discover a deeper sense of self, a deeper sense of meaning in life. But anyway, that brings me on to another question. So you could probably talk a lot about this next question, but I'll just see what comes out of you. So if there is somebody who's stuck in, like you were describing it, stuck in this mind, stuck in this challenging mind, difficult thoughts, difficult emotions, maybe they're not sleeping, maybe they're constantly being beaten up by their mind, with fear or depression or low self-esteem, all of that stuff, you know. I was going to say, what advice would you give to someone like that? I suppose there's many different things you could say, but what comes to you now if you could give advice to somebody who's stuck in the mind in that way?
Well, the first word that come to mind was actually grounding. It was grounding. A certain level of grounding I feel could support anyone, and it's quite a simple concept, is to ground our energy, to bring our energy, our attention further down into the lower half of the body. It sounds very simple, and it is simple, but it's super effective. So for somebody who is really up top and really kind of caught in this vicious cycle of mind and all these different parts that are being activated, really what we need to be doing, or what I'd do if it was me, and it has been me on many occasions, is bring my awareness lower down into my body, bring my awareness lower down into my feet. I mean, I do meditation, somatic meditation, for the first 15 minutes, I'm just feeling into the tips of my toes. Like that is the first thing I do when practicing somatic meditation, is just really explore the toes, the tips of the toes, the furthest point away from the head. And just doing that, just exploring, sensing, feeling into the toes. I keep looking at my toes. Just feeling, sensing into the toes just naturally brings the awareness down. And then from this place, it can be easier to make decisions. I mean, there's lots of things you can do. We've got various bioenergetic techniques, emotional release techniques, you know, doing exercise, whatever, but just making it a daily practice to bring the awareness further down the body, in particular, the toes, the feet, feeling into the balls of the feet. And over time, you know, it's not a quick fix, but over time, practicing in this way, naturally we'll get into the habit of just allowing our awareness to go further down. So that's what I'd say. Grounding, feeling into the feet, feeling into the legs, bring that awareness further down the body.
Yeah, amazing. So that's like the first piece of advice you would give if someone's stuck in that, like, just bring attention down.
Yeah, because ultimately, Chris, I don't see it as people have so many problems. Like, we think we've got so many problems, but what we've really got is lots of thoughts. We're just caught up in thoughts, and the mind perpetuates itself and keeps on creating. That's what it is. It's a creating machine, and it also loves to create problems. So bringing the awareness down into the lower half of the body, the thoughts get less and less, and in turn, the problems just dissipate and leave in many ways. What we perceived as a problem wasn't actually a problem. And there's a saying in therapy, the problem is never the problem, something along them lines. So the problem that the client comes and sees you with is never actually what's going on. It's never actually the problem. They think it is, but it's rarely the case. Of course, in some situations it will be. They've got a very direct thing. This is the issue. But for a lot of people that are suffering with mental health, they think, if I can just get this and just sort that out and just fix this part of my mind, then I'll be okay. But it's not really that what's going on. It's much deeper than that for the average person. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if you'd agree with that, but yeah.
No, yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
So you get a lot of people hear about spirituality and meditation and this sort of stuff, and they hear that the problem is the mind. The problem is the thinking. I'm thinking too much. It's my thinking that's causing me suffering. Because it's the thoughts in our mind that causes us suffering. Like, it's not the problems that are causing us suffering. Like you say, it's the thoughts in our mind that are causing us suffering. So then that person thinks, okay, I need to stop the thoughts in my mind. And they're like, okay, I need to stop the thoughts in my mind. And that just makes more thoughts. And people might have glimpses of, okay, my mind stops for a few seconds. I must have done that right. And then it comes back, and people can get in this battle with the mind of, like, trying to stop the mind. And I think you've kind of already covered this. But what would you say to that person who's trying to stop the mind, has heard about this and is trying to stop the mind, is trying to stop thoughts?
Yeah, it makes me think of a quote from Mooji. I can't remember it fully, but it was something along the lines of, trying to stop the mind as the mind is like trying to stop the wind on a windy day dressed as a kite, something like that. So, sorry, man, what was the question?
So what advice would you give to someone who's trying to stop, who's maybe like read The Power of Now and is like, okay, I need to stop my thoughts. How do I stop this? How do I stop these thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just come away from that altogether. You know, the best you can is just drop that. Anytime that, because that in itself is a thought, you know, I need to stop these thoughts is a thought. So I'd say definitely look into body-based therapy and working with the body, which the body is below thinking. So that which what we're trying to accomplish, we can't do it with the mind. We have to go to a different, realm, if you like, and the realm of the body, which is always still, which is thoughtless, which is present. Which has less thoughts, and you're kind of on the right track. I mean, sorry, I just got thrown off a little bit there, and it was making me think, like, doing this reading and trying to stop the mind as the mind, it just kind of continuously creates and takes us out, and the real journey where we need to be going is actually just forgetting about that and coming back into the body, feeling into the core, feeling into the legs.
Yeah, so like moving attention without the intention of changing thought. It's like never have the intention to do anything with thought, but it's always just about moving attention. So moving attention, down into the legs, down into the feet, down into the feelings, without worrying about the mind. If the mind slows down, the mind slows down. If the mind keeps going, the mind keeps going. Whatever, your job is to feel. Your job's to move attention.
It is, and also it's like there's different aspects of ourselves, like we have the thinking mind, and then we have feelings, the feeling body, and then we also have the sense of the body, whereas the sense is a little bit different. So thoughts, feelings, and then the sense, just the sense of our being. I think I shared it on the workshop just gone, where the outer circle is the thinking mind, the inner circle is the feeling body, and then the inner circle is our being, or the sense of the body. So it can be quite alien to a lot of people, and it can take some training and working with, because we're so habituated to go up top and use the mind, but actually feeling the feelings, of course, feeling into the body, but feeling into the effortless sense of the body. That is a great resource. And we can do that. We've experimented doing this sort of stuff, and we've taught it, just feeling into the hands. Like, everybody can feel into the hands. There's a lot of energy there, there's a lot of aliveness. And over time, practicing in that way, it does become a lot easier. Tapping into the sense of the body. Because I think sometimes when I've taught this in the past, people are like, well, I'm feeling my body, but there's just so much going on there. Like, it's like the lesser of two evils, being in my mind, or being in my body, which is filled with like so much intensity in terms of anxiety or panic or whatever it may be. But there's actually a deeper layer, a deeper level than that, which is this sense of our being, which is holding it all. And there's different words for this, of course: awareness, presence, consciousness. But I just like the sense of the body, just all having access to that sense of existence in many ways.
Wonderful, mate. Yeah, last night I was sitting here, actually, and I was feeling some frustration in my body. And it's like I wasn't quite relaxing. I was sitting to meditate. I couldn't quite relax. And I noticed there was an identification with the body. I was too much in it. I was too much trying to fix myself in that moment. And when I saw that, I was just like, okay, I was just saying to myself, I'm aware of my body. I'm aware of my mind. I'm aware of my body. I'm aware of my mind. And it just, there was a relief, and it just took me out, and it's like into the awareness, into the one who knows it, into the awareness of it. And then from there, I could feel into whatever was there. So that just really reminded me of that. Like, I've not heard it said that way before, the sense of the body, the sense of the body. It's a beautiful way of saying it, actually. I might steal that. But like the sense of the body, the one who knows the body. And that just takes you a little bit out of the suffering of it, a little bit out of the density of it, the pain of it. And then you can meet it in a more with a bit more clarity. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, man. yeah, it kind of gives you that space what you need. It allows you to take half a step back and just frees up what's going on inside. But yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I'm aware of this. I'm aware of what is going on, and it kind of points you to that field, that sense of the body, which is just always there. It can't not be there. It can't not be there for anything to take place. For us to have this conversation right now, there has to be a sense of the body which this can play out on. And yeah, I think really mental health, just kind of going back to what we was talking about, mental health is really about going to that sense of the body. Sorry, recovering from mental health is about going to that sense of the body. Because I think in many ways as well, like, you know, kind of going back to what we was talking about with mental health, just getting our thoughts organized and getting it a bit sort of more structured up here is not necessarily, I mean, it's healthier, it's probably a bit more functional, but it's not totally thriving. It's not like living a great life. Like, I know a lot of people that have kind of done that sort of stuff, and they kind of just about get by. But whereas the sense of the body, the beingness, it opens up so many doors of possibility. Like, to be in that state, you completely transcend all of this stuff, and you're not just trying to get better or back to how you was or normal. You're actually stepping into a world full of potential when you get in touch with the sense of the body, this beingness. And I know you talk a lot about this, Chris, this kind of, you know, mental health being a gateway to liberation, being a gateway to transformation. And yeah, I think that's definitely true. I couldn't agree more. And it is the sense of the body that kind of offers people that, in my opinion. Some people may disagree, but yeah.
No, yeah. Wonderful, mate. As you're talking, I'm just going to the sense of the body. There's so much freedom in it. So what I would say, or what I would ask, because we've had similar teachers, Rupert Spira, Mooji, Eckhart Tolle, and we've been quite into non-duality, self-inquiry, Ramana Maharshi, which is all about coming into being aware of being aware, coming to be aware of awareness, to be aware of, the sense of the body. So what pointer would you give? If you could just give one pointer, you've probably got a few. What pointer would you give someone if they're hearing this, it resonates? Okay, there's the mind, there's the feeling of the body, there's the feelings in the body, and then there's the sense of the body. What pointer would you give to somebody to, point them towards the sense of the body?
I think inquiry. I mean, if I was going to give one piece of advice, for me, it's training the body, training bodily awareness, and becoming more aware of the sense of the body from somatic meditation. It would be inquiry, asking the question, what is it that is aware of my experience right now? Like right now, as I am talking, as we are communicating, people are watching, what is it that is aware? Could you not be aware of this right now? As I'm talking, you are involuntarily aware. So what is it that is aware? What is aware right now? Just ask that question. And as we ask the question, we're not in a rush to get an answer. I can feel it also, man. But just asking the question, it's like the awareness likes to be aware. The awareness likes to be acknowledged, you know? So asking that question, not being in a hurry for an answer, and just sitting with it, because it can be a real direct, intimate experience of this sense of the body. What is it that is aware right now? And then just allowing whatever needs to happen, and you just explore the awareness.
Yeah, it's so simple, but it's so wonderful at the same time. I think when you've lived in such contraction, when you've lived in such a contracted place, if you've been through so much suffering, so much trauma, so much stress for so many years, and then you just start to touch in with that place, which isn't stressed, that place which is free. It just makes you smile, doesn't it? It makes you laugh. It's like, it's awesome.
It is, and also for the people who are watching this, it's like, it's a truly liberating experience to inquire in this way, particularly if you've been in this contracted way of living, you know, you've just been shut off and in the head. But also, like, you know, it can take time. It's a kind of contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion. It's this kind of dance, you know, back and forth, back and forth. But even if you can just taste it a little bit in each moment, it's enough. But stick with it. Stick with it.
Yeah, it's important to say that it's not necessarily going to be a big experience. Like,
yeah, that's what I was saying.
For me now, I'm laughing, I'm smiling because maybe there was a bit of contraction in my system. So when we're talking about it, I come into that and it's a release, it's a relief. So I smile, I laugh. It's good, it's happiness. But it's not necessarily going to be a big experience that you're looking for or anything like that. And the other thing, I loved what you said, which really did it for me, man. I love this pointer, which is like, right now, you can't not be aware of your body. That means it's effortless. That means there's something in your experience which is completely effortless, which if it's completely effortless, it's complete rest. It doesn't need anything. It's effortless. It's without effort. Oh, what a relief. To be in touch with something that is out without effort. So that's such a great little pointer. Try and get rid of it. Try now not to be aware. Okay, I'm gonna try. I couldn't get rid of it if I tried.
yeah. It's like the very act of saying, okay, I'm not aware now. Like, the awareness has to be there for you to say it. Even if somebody was like, well, I'm not aware, it's like, well, how can you say that? You know, like, even if you say with all your might, like, I am not aware, or get rid of this awareness, it's like the awareness has got to be present. Awareness is always present. And it's kind of what you're saying, Chris, is that it's always here. It's effortless. It's an effortless recognition.
Another little thing was coming into my mind, but I've forgotten it now. Let's see if it comes back. Oh yeah, sometimes I ask myself, sometimes I'll say to myself, I am consciously aware that I exist. I am consciously aware that I exist. I know that I exist. I'm aware that I exist. And then sometimes I'll play with the thought, I'm not aware. I'll just say to myself, I'm not aware. I'm not aware. I'm not aware that I exist. And that's just like saying I'm not aware that I exist just shows you the awareness, shows you that you are aware. I don't know if that makes sense. My mind's a bit jumbled. I don't know if I explain that very well.
No, I totally get it, man. Yeah, it kind of leads on to what I just said about this kind of, you can try and not be aware and not exist or whatever it may be, but awareness has always got to be present to experience. Any experience, awareness must be there first. So yeah, no, I totally hear you.
And I think this topic, as we're speaking about it now, I'm feeling that this very topic is the most important topic in terms of mental health stuff. Coming into the body,
most important topic of anything in the world, in all honesty.
Combining this with meeting the body, combining this with meeting what's there in the body is just the perfect recipe for growth and transformation, isn't it? Woo! Hallelujah. Okay, I don't know how long we've been going for.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, well, we're at half an hour now, 35. So shall I kick us off with some bioenergetics?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So how long are we going to do? 10 minutes, did you say?
Yeah, well, I think we'll do about 8 minutes. Bloody hell, I've got this light on, it's so bright. Look like a ghost. Yeah, so we'll do 8 minutes bioenergetics, and then we'll finish with 2 minutes shaking, which is still technically bioenergetics. Yeah, okay. So I will explain, for those of you that don't know, bioenergetics is a body movement practice which contains 3 elements, which is maintaining a particular stretch, breathing deep in and out through the mouth, and then feeling the body, very important, feeling into the body. So we're going to put ourselves in a stretch, which can be quite stressful to the body, but in a healthy way, to break up the tension and the neurotic holding patterns that we store in the body. Breathing deep in and out through the mouth, building up a charge in the body. So it's not shallow breathing, like it's deep, full breaths right down into the belly. And we do this because it activates our emotions. So we open the muscles up with the stretch, we breathe deep, charging up the body, which allows our repressed emotions to start to come to the surface. And then feeling into the body allows the processing to occur. So all of this stuff which we've been sat on and squashing, it starts to come to the surface. It can become a little bit intense. I mean, this probably won't be too intense, but keep feeling the body. So the first stretch, we're going to be working with 3 stretches, and we're going to be working with the face, the mouth in particular. The mouth, the face is such a what's the word? Tight and taut area of our body, you know, like the face is where we try to hold everything back. You know, when if we feel like crying, we tend to, and we want to hide it, we tend to just like lock the face, lock the jaw, squint our eyes perhaps, and just keep all that emotion in. Likewise, if we're pissed off, if we're angry but we don't want to show it, or it's not really seen appropriate to show our anger, same again, we use the face to hide our emotions. And I can say that about all emotions, really. So the first stretch is the jaw and the mouth as wide as we can, and the eyes at the same time. So as follows. Obviously, we'll look a bit mental, but it's really look like we've just got a lunatic asylum. But if you want change, do it. So, really opening up, and we're going to go for a minute.
Okay, we're sitting down for this, yeah.
No, we're going to be stood up, but I just wanted to get a close-up so you can see what's going on. So first stretch, 1 minute, mouth, eyes as wide as we can. Then we're going to go into the fake smile. So here we have meridians, and lots of these meridians get blocked from this holding what I just described. So the fake smile goes as follows. We just put the corners of the mouth up. So you can feel it. You can feel it in the cheeks. You can hush the corners of the mouth up. Don't be laughing, Chris. This is serious work. And once we've got that, don't make she'll start me off.
Yeah, I know it's serious, but at the same time, I don't want to.
Sense of the body, grounded. Yeah. This can be really activating as well, so I want to be semi-serious because
I'll be serious now.
Yeah. So working with the face can be this kind of bridge between the mind and body. You know, we're kind of cut off, we're living up here, breaking up this tension around here, the jaw, the face. It allows the awareness to start to come back into the body, so it can become quite intense. So jaw stretched, corners of the mouth go up, the fake smile we call it. So you're meant to be like fake smiling, really pushing the corners up.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So you're pushing these, it's just the corners of the mouth. Breathing deep through the mouth, you'll start to feel it. The face can go into a bit of a spasm and start to shake, like the jaw start to rattle, the cheeks move.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And then one of my favorite exercises of bioenergetics is called the right to exist. Now, for so many people, we have this notion that we don't have the right. We don't have the right to be here. We don't have the right to exist. I can't be me. I can't have the life that I want, whatever it may be, you know, kind of associated with self-esteem. But at the root of it, it's this: I shouldn't exist, or I shouldn't be me. Don't be important. Don't exist. So this exercise is very primal. It's a very primal movement to bringing back our energy that we have the right, to exist. So it goes as follows. So we're going to stand with our feet roughly, a bit more than shoulder width apart, outsides of the feet are roughly parallel, maybe pointing out. We're going to put our hands forward like this. And it's a bit hard to tell on the video, but my hands are locked. It's like I've got the right to take something, really gripping. And then we're going to flick the pelvis. So it's a sexual movement. It's coming from the pelvis. So on the side. And we make a grunt-like sound. So we'll go into that for a minute also. So just to recap, jaw stretched, fake smile, and then right to exist.
Got it.
And if you are following along now, guys, if there's people watching or you're watching the replay, really take it on. It might seem a bit daft. It might seem, you know, a whole lot of things, but try it. Really do try it and go for it. Can you hear that ding, Chris?
I didn't hear it then, mate.
Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that, no.
Don't worry, I'll just guide us.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start. Jaw stretched, nice and wide. Let's go. Stretching them eyes, stretching the jaw, really opening up. We're only going for a minute, as wide as you can, and breathe deep through the mouth, feeling the body. Keep that stretch going, deep breaths. There's the ding, letting it go. Fake smile, let's go. Corners of the mouth are pointing up. Deep breaths in and out. Feel into the face, feel into the body. Keep that stretch going, corners of the mouth up. This is actually my workout in the mornings at the moment. And coming to the screen, let's see in your fake smile. Breathing deep. There's the thing up here, right to exist. Gripping, hands out, gripping, palms forward, feet a bit more than shoulder width apart, and flick the pelvis, making a grunt sound. low grunt. Feel into the body, feel into the belly. You have the right to take something, the right to exist. It's a primal movement, it's a sexual movement, thrusting. A low grunt-like sound as you flick the pelvis forward. And make your face look ugly. Don't be smiling. Just make the face ugly. Stick out the jaw, perhaps. The movement is in the pelvis. Keep it going, almost there. This is the way we empower ourselves. Okay, letting that go. There's the ding. Straight back into jaw stretch. Jaw, eyes nice and wide. Breathing deep through the mouth. Keep it going. We've only got 60 seconds to do this. Stretched eyes, mouth, breathing into the face. Allow that tension to break up. There's the ding. Coming into the fake smile. Corners of the mouth pointing up. And really feel into the face. The breath comes in, we're feeling the face. The breath goes out, we're also feeling the face. It's a continuous feeling of the body, in particular the face. And once again, we come to the screen. We'll let's see each other's fake smiles. There we are. Corners of the mouth. Oh, let's feel into it. Keep it going. There's the ding. Okay, we're moving into the right to exist. Gripping sensation, flicking the pelvis, keeping the arms static if we can. Feeling into the belly, feeling into the back, feeling like you have the right to take something. Making that face ugly, sticking the jaw out. Keep it going all the way to the end. As you flick the pelvis, a low grunt, a grunt-like sound, activating the belly. It's a low grunt from the belly. Okay, there's the ding. Slowly bring that to an end. And we're just going to go into 3 minutes of shaking. So feet a bit closer together. You can close your eyes if you wish. Feeling into the legs. Feeling if there's any trembling or shaking, and if not, make it until you make it. Just start a shake, running up from the feet, from the legs, through the entire body. And this is still bioenergetic, so we're still breathing deep in and out through the mouth and feeling the body. And the shake is vertical, so not side to side, swinging around like this. It's a vertical shake. Allowing some of that energy to come up from the belly, come up from the pelvis. Also a great way to integrate. Keeping nice and loose in the face, in the head, in the shoulders, in the belly. I'm just feeling into that sense of the body, feeling into the emotions, feeling into anything that's there to be felt. This is how we restore function and health within the mind. We open up the body. We release what the body is holding. The sound on the out breath can usually be good. Keeping it going all the way to that final bell. Breathing deep, feeling the body. Okay, there's the ding. Slowly, slowly bringing that shake to an end. Like to find our way back to a seated position. We shall recommence. So that's the bioenergetics for today. If you have followed along, it is important to keep feeling the body. You know, when we practice bioenergetics, it doesn't end when the workout ends. Things can continue to open, continue to move. The muscles tend to be more open than normal. So things can move through. So it's just important to keep feeling the body. Come back to that sense of the body, what we was talking about at the start of this call. But big well done. Big well done to you, Chris, and anybody else who participated.
Oh, fucking hell, that got things moving, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, cool. Good.
Feels so much energy moving through my body. It's just like, I feel like I could explode. Oh, that was awesome, man. I love bioenergetics so much, mate. My body is just craving it.
Yeah.
It's craving it, man. Like I've spent so much of my practice, so much opening to awareness and so much coming into the body. There's just such an energy inside, and it's like doing these practices just opens it up and just helps it flow. It's like, that's what I feel like, really just excited to carry on with it.
Yeah, man. You know what? It's with the body, what I love about working with the body is that it wants to release, you know, it wants this life force flowing. It wants this energy to come out. It wants to let go of the emotions. So it's not like working with the mind in many ways, because the mind is trying to hold on. It wants to stay in this script or this pattern of life, which keeps it safe and stops it from being exposed. But the body's like, fuck that. I want to release. I want to let go. I want to feel the primordial life force, which is just emanating from my being. Like, I want that experience. We look at all animals and they're all experiencing this life force. You can tell now, you can actually tell with both of us, the energy started to move.
Yeah, man. I feel like I want to go like go run through the woods like, yes, I'm alive.
Yeah.
It's strong. But yeah, mate, you made me laugh so much when you because I was just seeing you on the screen like this. And then I noticed that I'm doing it as well, and the thought was like, people might come onto this YouTube live and just see us staring at the camera like this, and I just couldn't stop laughing. And I know it's like, you're supposed to take it seriously, but it's just, I couldn't.
No, man, laughter's good. Laughter's really good.
And then when we were doing the right to exist, I realized people could come onto YouTube lives. They could flick on at any time. They're used to me like sitting there just like talking about spirituality and stuff, and then suddenly they see me with this other guy just humping at the screen. They'd be like, what is this? But it felt good, man. I love that right to exist exercise as well.
Oh man, it's amazing. It really is. Like that's one of my favorite exercises. It took me a while to get into it, but somebody who's had such low self-esteem like myself, like it was a real game changer for me. It's a super powerful one. I was just thinking if the camera froze as well and was both like in the screen and it just got left with that screen. But anyway.
Anyway, man, I'm really excited about the we need to let people know we've got a 10-week journey coming up. It's a combination of my stuff, which if you're on this channel you'll know about that, really coming into the body, bringing awareness down into the body, meditating, finding freedom from the mind, all that awesome stuff. And it's combined with bioenergetics, a live bioenergetics class every week from Alex. There's all sorts of different exercises. They were just 3 of the exercises there. Every week, new exercises, and we'll practice every day. And I'm going to follow it along like everyone else on the course, just because I want to do it. So that starts 16th of February. And we also have a free workshop coming up on Thursday, where we're going to be doing some bioenergetics, and I'll probably talk a bit as well, and we'll answer some questions. That's this Thursday. If you haven't signed up, it was a 3-part series. But there's just one workshop left. You can jump in on the last workshop. You don't need to have gone to the others. And I'll drop the link for that in the bio in my description as well. So come to that on Thursday and check out the 10-week journey, which I'll also put in the description. I think it's gonna be really good. Alex, do you want to say anything about that, mate?
Basically what you just said, man. It's going to be deep. It's going to be transformative. You know, working with the body. I've said it a few times now, but working with the body, it doesn't need to take a long time. This change what we're all seeking. This change what we want, this happiness, this fulfillment that we're seeking, it really doesn't have to take a long time when we start working with the body. It can be intense, it can be evocative, emotionally evocative, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. So I'd love to see people either at the workshop on Thursday, or they can also look back. I believe the recordings are on your YouTube, right, Chris, at the previous workshops.
Yeah, the recordings are on my YouTube. Yeah, the first one, the video is not that good, but the second one, video is fine. So you can check it out on the YouTube channel.
People can check that out and check out more of bioenergetics. We'll do a few different postures. And this week we're going to be doing something completely different, which I don't think I've taught online before. No, I've not. It's the first time teaching this online, so it's going to be a good one on Thursday. So I'd love to see as many there as possible, and it's free. This week it's a free workshop. So
yeah, sweet. Would you like to answer one more question? It's just come to me as a final question.
Sure.
So a lot of people on this channel are kind of non-duality nerds. Well, not nerds, non-duality legends. People are into non-duality. People like Rupert Spira, Matt Garrett. Do you know Matt Garrett?
Yeah, I watched one of his videos. He's good. I like him.
Yeah, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
And people like that. So how does bioenergetics fit with non-duality? Because a lot of non-duality is just like, oh, there's nothing to do. Just know yourself as awareness. Everything will be fine once you just recognize yourself as awareness. But if you've got a lot of trauma and a lot of emotions and stuff, then recognizing yourself as awareness is still great. But sometimes we need to unwind and untangle that shadow stuff. I feel like I'm answering your question for you. But how does bioenergetics fit in with non-duality? Or if you're not into non-duality, just awakening to your true nature and living from your true nature, how does bioenergetics fit with that?
It's funny that this question's come up right at the end of the call, because when we had a chat earlier, I think we was kind of like was going to explore this topic, but as ever, we've just not discussed anything that we planned. and then right at the end, it's like, oh, there was that question. But anyway, how does bioenergetics relate to non-duality? Well, non-duality is a state of unity, of oneness, and bioenergetics is a training in discovering ourselves as this oneness. But because of our neurotic mind, or most people have a neurotic mind, and these holding patterns in the body which constrict and form an egoic identity, which we then perceive ourselves to be separate individual beings, bioenergetics is a training in peeling back these layers, peeling back these levels, removing the blocks of separation, is one way that I could put it. So it's a very complementary approach, kind of doing this sort of non-duality practices, perceiving with sort of non-dual awareness, whatever, and doing the bioenergetics, with so many of us having trauma in the body, or certainly like layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of conditioning. It can be difficult to just dive straight into seeing what is meant by non-duality. And it's a process. I'm on a process with it. I'm in a process with it. But bioenergetics for me does this on a physical level. It takes out of these blocks, and just naturally, we don't have to use the mind. Just naturally, we start to feel our connection with everything, basically. Yeah.
Brilliant, man. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good explanation. Something was just coming for me to add. Where's it gone? It did go. Yeah, lots of people have the idea on the path that when you self-inquire and come into recognizing awareness, being aware of awareness, then that's all you need, just to keep coming back to awareness, keep coming back to awareness, keep coming back to awareness. And I think for some people, that is all they need. If you haven't got a lot of stuff inside, if you haven't got load, like challenging, a big magnetic pull of emotional stuff inside, then you could probably find freedom and peace from that. I know my experiences, I feel like I really need to come into the body and meet everything that's there at the same time, unwind these conditioned patterns. To catch up with that. Like my teacher Craig says, the body's the last thing to catch up. The body's the last thing to catch up. You can recognize awareness, you can recognize the peace of your being. And the body is then, you know, it's way behind. And these practices that you teach help the body to catch up with that recognition.
Definitely.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And it was weird because as you said, Craig, I was actually thinking your teacher, Craig, that's what I was going to respond to you with. Your teacher, Craig, says something and then you just said it, which is pretty interesting.
You were going to say exactly what I said about Craig.
More or less, yeah. I had Craig popped in my mind, and I was going to say, well, your teacher, Craig, obviously is your teacher, we've had a lot of sessions with. That comes to mind, and then I was going to go into the body about what he said, and then you've just said it. So, yeah.
It's one mind, man. We shared that thought. We shared that thought. It was one thought.
Yeah. That's it. That's the non-dual awareness. You know, there's not two minds. There's just one field and things moving in this field.
How cool is that? How cool is that we shared a thought? I never would have believed that. But that can't be a coincidence, really. Well, it could, but it's probably not.
No, man, synchronicities. I definitely believe in it. Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that actually with the bioenergetics, though, meeting the feeling, because that's also what bioenergetics is. Well, that's what bioenergetics is. It's teaching us how to feel emotions. And from my experience, meeting people that are really sort of committed and dedicated to this path, most people that I have met who are kind of, you know, serious seekers or whatever, they've got a lot of emotion going on, because really nobody really has a strong enough incentive unless they've got a lot going on. Of course, there's some people that just want to seek truth and they want to know themselves and so on and so forth. But the average person, the majority of people, have got big emotional stuff going on, I'd say. So bioenergetics is a way that we can meet that. You know, we have the recognition, we read The Power of Now, we listen to Mooji, and it all resonates and we all get lit up inside, and it's like this wonderful place and this wonderful space. But then we have to come back to the body, and the average person has got a lot going on. And meeting that, being able to hold that frequency of awareness whilst in that intensity of emotion is really key. To having success on this path, I'd say.
Yeah, it's such an awesome process that we're in, man. Yeah. Okay, well, I think we've been going for quite a while. So, shall we call it there?
Definitely, man. Thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure. Been a good laugh and good topics as ever.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, mate. It's like the satsangs we used to have in Osho Lila. We lived in a community called Osho Lila, an Osho community. And me and Alex, at one point, we discovered that we were both really dedicated to satsang, and we just get into these, like, locked into these conversations, like, and we both just kind of enter into this state, and it would just be like filled with grace and filled with bliss. It was awesome, wasn't it?
And then before we knew it, there was like everybody that come into the dorm was just then becoming like satsang dedicated people, whatever. Like, it was all just like, there was Rupert Spira books everywhere. Mooji was on YouTube. It was just like people who'd never even heard of this stuff. So we, it was brilliant.
Yeah, it was this massive house. It's this big mansion, and there's loads of different dorms, loads of different rooms. Everyone's living in different areas. And there was like me and you and say maybe like 4 other guys living in that one dorm. And it became like this portal. It's like satsang portal, didn't it? Anyone who came in would just be like, start like talking about Rupert Spira, talking about awareness. And yeah, it was class.
Yeah, man, that's the power of it, though. That's the power. It's definitely, it's there. Cool, brother. Well, thanks for having me. yeah, I'll speak to you no doubt this week before the workshop. And if you guys are still watching all the way to the end, get to the workshop Thursday. It'd be great to have you there.
Yeah, we'll see you Thursday. Sign up in the description. If you're interested in the 10-week course, then you can also find that in the description. And yeah, we'll see you again. Okay, cheers, Alex. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, man.
Namaste. Peace.
See ya.